Democratic Progressive Party President Antonio Mwanza, thank you so much for making time to join us on this day tonight.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Congratulations on your official launch of your party.
Thank you so much, and thanks for covering us for free. I must mention that because time on TV and radio is expensive. We appreciate that Diamond TV and many other radio and TV stations gave us free coverage.
Why DPP?
Well, we were looking for a vehicle that we can use to change the direction of this country. 60 years after independence, we are still struggling with issues of employment. The cost of living is off the roof. There is no ownership for Zambians for anything. Zambians don't own anything. They don't own land, they don't own the means of production, they don't own the mines, they don't own the telecommunications, they don't own construction, they don't own anything. The only thing that Zambians do is to provide their human capital as laborers who work for 2.5, 3 pin, 4 pin, and that's all. And we thought that must change. We wanted a vehicle that we could use to make sure that Zambians take control and ownership of their own destiny. And also we took account of the very fact that the majority of the Zambians today are young people below the age of 35. In 2021, when we had the elections in 2021, 73.1% of the people that voted in that election were young people. Yet only 3 people in parliament are below the age of 35. With the removal of Honorable Munia, we are remaining with 2 individuals who are below the age of 35. So in short, we have a nation where the majority demographic, the biggest population of the country is not involved in leadership. It is not involved in decision making. It is not involved in deciding what is needed. So we thought we should have the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, as a vehicle that young people should use as their own, as a vehicle that the old should use as their own. We are not against the old people. We appreciate and respect what they bring on the table. That's why our leadership is comprised of everybody, but the full emphasis is on the young people. And our slogan is Chawonse, because the third thing which is very important in this country is that the country has been polarized, completely polarized. We are divided on political ground, we are divided on ethnic ground, and we've reached a level, very dangerous level in this country where even when you have got an idea which makes sense, even when your points make sense, I will still oppose them because you don't come from my party, or I'll praise you even when you do things which are wrong just because I'm part of you. So we need to change that. We need to have a Zambia where the opposition are allowed to operate, but also the opposition have to operate responsibly, meaning that we should provide the much needed checks and balances, but also provide an alternative to what is happening. And that the ruling party must also be real and accept criticism, and not to take those that criticize them as bitterness or hatred. No, they should accept the fact that they were put in office to work and that the Zambian people reserve the right to hold them to account. So we need a Zambia where the leadership, both from the opposition and the ruling party, argue and fight very passionately over issues that affect the people of Zambia: load shedding, unemployment, poverty. Those are the issues that Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, stands for, and those are the issues that we want to keep on hammering until the lives of the people of Zambia change.
Your history is well documented. You started your leadership at the University of Zambia, student president, but also you're known to be one that has been moving from one political party to the next, FDD, to the Patriotic Front, to the Socialist Party, and now the DPP. To people now who begin to interact with you as president, what sort of difference are you bringing, to the conversation around politics from the time that you started serving under different political parties now to the time that you're your own president with your own political party?
So one of the things that I've tried to do is not to talk ill of where I come from. I've never given in detail reasons why I've left where I've been, because I don't want to wash dirty linen in public, and I will not start today. That's my principle, and I'll remain like that. So I respect and appreciate everywhere I've been, and I've used it as a matter of growth. I'm a better person today than I was 20 years ago when I started politics. I'm better today because of the places I've been to, and I've learned a lot. And we bring this wealth of experience from everywhere I've been to understand how politics plays, the things that make governments fail, the things that make political parties fail, and the things that we ought to do to make DPP different. And this is the reason why, with all this wealth of experience, DPP is going to be a completely different outfit. When you talk about DPP, you talk about jobs, you talk about electricity, you talk about agriculture, you talk about mining, you talk about industrialization. And our politics, even when we hold those accountable in government, will be strictly on issues. So there will be no insults, no hate speech, no name calling, no reason to divide this country. We need Zambians to work together as one. So we provide that platform. And why the Democratic Progressive Party is because we believe in progressive ideas. We are center-left. We believe that government has an important role to play in making sure that we provide the leadership that is needed, protect the vulnerable, protect the poor, but allow the private sector to thrive, because that is what creates jobs for the young people. So I'm bringing the years of experience to the fore.
And it's good you're driving us to the idea of ideology within the political party. We know for a fact that there's different ideologies that different political parties have in this country. One that you're coming from, the Socialist Party, is very clear on its ideology, but also these other political parties are pro-capitalist. Perhaps, let us in on the ideology of the DPP. What exactly is the ideology of the Democratic Party?
So our ideology, we are center-left. And for the sake of those that are following us that might not be very conversant with these terminologies, is that Bomaya Tuya DPP, the first thing that we want to do is that people should be allowed to do business. And government must allow the people to have an environment where their business can thrive. So, number one, we will not give tax breaks to foreign conglomerates. We will cancel the tax breaks that are being given to the mining firms. We will instead give tax breaks, tax holidays to the small and medium-scale enterprises. So Diamond TV, Musanza TV, small and medium enterprises run by young people, Wama Baba Shop, Wama Saluni, those are the people that government must give tax breaks to. So the center-left believes that government has a role to protect the people, that we don't allow excesses of capitalism to take over, that we provide the social security that our people need, but also provide meaningful, conducive environment for the private sector to thrive. So we believe that small businesses, medium businesses, those are the sectors of the economy that drives. But we also don't believe that government should not take part in ensuring that we regulate the industry. For instance, if you allow me, we can go to mining. Now, mining contributes 72% of our foreign earnings, but only contributes less than 15% to the GDP. In short, all the millions of dollars that miners are making, the companies that are making, the foreign capital, that capital is taken out of this country. So the only thing we remain with, ni vimigo divijamenti makumba, kuchosa mokopa. Vindu vamenti navo yese kwa ncha sana, ni wame machito ndi senzo watu fulesa ma 3 pin, ma 2 pin na ma 4 pin. But copper, sugilite, emerald, gold, vonsevi, foreign companies, Mamopani, KCM, foreign companies, they're getting all these things and they're taking away. So you can imagine 72% of foreign earnings, they're coming from mining. But mining sector only contributes less than 15% to the GDP, meaning the rest of the money is taken out of the country. We can come to construction, which is one of the big sector. Construction is in the hands of foreigners. All the major contracts that are going on, whether it's construction of roads.
So how, mining, how do you intend to turn around things?
Yeah. So the first thing that we need to do with the mining is to restructure the ownership of the mines. First of all, we need to do the following things. We have not done a geo survey, a geo-mineral survey to understand which parts of this country have got which minerals and how much of the mineral and for how long will it last. So the first thing that we need to do is to do a survey to understand which parts of this country has what minerals. That's number one. Once we do that, we will understand which new mines needs to be established. People have been killed because wanaenda kukumba gold. I've sat down with people that are doing trade in gold, and they have told me, With $100,000, they can set up a gold refinery plant. Just $100,000. Bazagula ka detector ka godi, bazafaka ka refinery, zayamba kukumba godi no sungunula no gulisa ku Bank of Zambia. One refinery can employ up to 50 youths. Okay? $100,000 is one thing that you can do as a government is just to say, from the 3 vehicles we have bought for a minister, we will not buy one GX. Instead of spending $180,000 US dollars to buy a new GX, we shall get $180,000 US dollars and give to 2 youth communities, cooperatives. Maybe 2 of them, we have got 50 youths, set up those mining centers for gold, bazayimba godi, bazasungunula, bazagulisa ku Bank of Zambia. So the following things have to be done. First of all, we will restructure the mining ownership. We will sit down and look at the contracts that were signed. What is legally possible, we will do. What is legally impossible, we will not do. We are not going to have any hostile takeover of the mines. That we shall not do because we don't want to disrupt business. But we'll sit down and make sure that we restructure the mining ownership. For us as Democratic Progressive Party, there is no single mining asset where the majority shareholding will go to foreigners. That will not do. Because Zambians can't have majority shareholding in China. Zambians can't have majority shareholding in Malawi. It's only here where we allow foreigners to come, have majority shareholding in strategic industries. So the new mines, all the new mines for gold, for sugilite, for lithium, for copper that we are discovering, we will make sure that majority shareholding goes to the Zambian people. By law, it will be in the statutes. Number 2, in the mining sector, we shall cancel the tax breaks that we have given mining sector. We shall cancel them. They don't need the tax breaks. They will pay a fair share of their taxes. Number 3, there's been a lot of theft in the mining sector in terms of tax evasion, tax avoidance, price transferring. We'll close the loopholes and we'll make sure that the mining sector pays what is fair to the Zambian people. Number 4, we shall not allow the mining sector to export raw copper, raw minerals. No. We want them to invest in processing and manufacturing to create jobs for the young people right here in Zambia and to add value to our national GDP. Number 5, we shall not allow mining companies not to provide the much needed support to the communities. When we were growing up, mining firms used to sponsor schools, used to sponsor football, used to sponsor sport in general. Today, they don't do all those things. So ownership, control to the Zambians. Tax breaks out. We'll give those tax breaks to the people.
It's interesting because I was having a conversation with the Zambia Revenue Authority and he told me that there's no company or mine that at the moment they're giving any tax breaks.
Oh, so
when you speak of tax breaks, do you know of which particular mine
yes.
they're giving tax
The Zambia Revenue Authority itself is on record that Mopani and KCM have not been paying taxes. They are not up to date with the payment of taxes today. Zambia Revenue Authority themselves. Then this is what is interesting. I was doing my master's degree in political science and international relations this year. I'm graduating in October. And one of the things that we did, my research, was to look at the political, economic influence of China and America on Zambia the last 10 years. I have a list of all the mines that are currently operating in Zambia. The list is updated for 2024-2025. There are thousands of mines operating in Zambia, given licenses. But the Zambia Revenue Authority, they themselves have said they are collecting tax to only less than 10 mines. Out of 1,000+ mining firms, they are collecting tax from a less than 10 mines. How do they have a tax break? So this is how it works. When you make mineral royalty tax deductible, it means that ZRA is not taxing the mines on their gross output. They are taxing them on their profit. And ZRA will tell you that mines don't declare profits. That out of all the mines that are operating, there are less than 10 mines in this country that are declaring profits. Why are they not declaring profits? So that they don't pay the tax. So when you make the mineral royalty tax deductible, in essence, you have made it a tax break and a tax holiday, because all that the mines do is to give you a bill to prove to you that they have not made money. So those who brought the cooler box will tell you we bought this cooler box at 3 million kwacha. How are you going to argue? They will give you a receipt of a firm that sold them that thing in Dubai. How are you going to argue with them? So they will provide you with receipts to prove that they're not making any profits. So in essence, you have given them a tax break, a tax holiday, because you have made the mineral royalty tax deductible. Not only that, if you go to ZRA, the mining firms are given tax refunds. Millions and millions of kwachas are being given back to the mining firms as tax refunds. Do they give the tax refund to the Zambian firms? No, they don't. So we shall change that. We shall cancel the VAT refunds. We are losing 4.8 billion US dollars, not million, 4.8 billion US dollars every 12 months from the mining sector alone. Do you know what $4.8 billion can do to provide hospitals, clinics, schools for this country? We are losing from this law that the government has made. They have made the tax.
This is through taxes that we're losing.
Yes. The tax avoidance, tax evasion, non-taxable revenue, and creative accounting. 4.8 billion US dollars every 12 months. That is money that we should use to build our cities, to build industries, and to make Zambia a better place for everybody. When the government introduced and made the export tax, they removed the export duty, 10% on precious minerals. The country is losing $150 million every 12 months from that tax waiver alone. Who owns the emerald mining companies in Zambia? It's foreigners. Where is the money going? The money is being shipped out of this country. So in short, we have a country where God has given us minerals, but we are saying we can't use these minerals. We will allow foreigners to come here. What we can do is to provide labor. Tikakumba, tawapasa maforena watenga maini, migodi, vose, sujilite, godi, waindogulisa, and we come back with nothing as a country. And Mwansa, 60 years after independence, go to Rwanda, where minerals come from, and look at the status of Rwanda.
Most of the things you're talking about is what this government says that they've done. Number one, they're saying that they've already done the geographical mapping across the country to identify greenfield areas where we can establish new mines. They're saying what you're saying. They're saying that there's been over $3.8 billion investments in the mining sector from the time that they came into office. We've seen also that they're saying the reason for why this investment is coming in is because of the predictable mining regime that the Upnd has put up. They're also saying that look, the mining industry under the previous administration was completely dead. They've revamped it. The two major mines in our country, KCM and Mopani, are now back to life. And so they're saying, look, we've done well when it comes to the mining sector. Also, just recently, we did see the president get into commission, to commission the artisanal and small-scale mining conference that happened at Mulungushi, and this is in a bid to formalize, small-scale mining with the backdrop of the fact that at Mufumbwe, there was, that illegal mining that was being done, and what government is doing at the moment is just to be able to provide skills, but also provide finances for these, small-scale miners to begin to. In fact, they've even given around 92 licenses so far to small-scale miners. So, isn't this what you're talking about?
So here are the facts. Okay, 4 years of UPND, the poverty levels have risen from 54% to 64%. Okay, so the poverty levels are up. The cost of living is up, the cost of doing business is up, the cost of life in general is up. Let's go back to the things one by one that you have said. First of all, they boast about 3.8 billion investment. Investment by who? For who? The question is, of that investment, how much of that investment remains in Zambia? What factories, industries have we developed from the so-called investment? What factory, what industry is in the Copper Belt? What processing and manufacturing industry in the mining sector is on the Copper Belt? How many jobs are we creating from the mining sector itself in the Copper Belt? If we go to Mufumbwe today, what's the state of Mufumbwe? It's amongst the most poorest places in this country. Okay, you can go to Solowezi. What's the status of Solowezi? It's amongst the poorest districts in the country. So to talk about investment for a foreign direct investor is not investment that remains in Zambia. And this is why the Democratic Progressive Party doesn't believe that foreign direct investment can develop a country, because it can't. Zambia has been having foreign direct investment for the last 60 years. From 1964 to date, we have foreign direct investment. In fact, we have had foreign direct investment from the 1700s and the 1800s. But look at our poverty levels, look at our standard of living, look at our cost of living. It is not going down. Why? It's because the foreign direct investment we talk about is in the hands of foreigners. They are taking all the capital. You've heard the government have said we are targeting to produce 1 million metric tons of copper. Yes, you can produce 1 million metric tons of copper, but the question is, of the 1 million metric tons of copper, how much of that money comes back to Zambia? That's the question. How much of it remains here and how much of it is used to build industries? What they don't, and the geological survey. The geological survey requires 1.2 billion kwacha to do the geological survey. They have only put 36 million kwacha. So they are way behind. They are way behind. They have not even done 35% of the country. The question that UPND has to answer is this. From the production from the mine, how much is remaining in Zambia and how much is improving Zambia and how much is creating jobs for Zambia? All the mining towns today are ghost towns. There is nothing that is going on. There is no water, there is no electricity, there are no schools, there are no hospitals, the cost of living for the people is high, the poverty levels are high, everything is broken down. So to boast about investment from a foreigner and claim that's our investment is like me nabwera panyumba. Nabwera panyumba, then neba bwera bweropanga nyumba ya mushe. Then inevanita na tibwera ungale master of ceremony to break the ribbon, to cut the ribbon for this house I've built. And then I start boasting. It doesn't work like that. And if under the DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party president will not be wasting his time going around cutting ribbons for foreign investment. No. There is no country in the world, Mwansa, which has been improved or developed by foreigners. No country in the world. Whether it is Malawi, whether it is America, whether it is Zambia, foreigners will not develop this country. The only way we are going to develop this country is give the mining licenses to the young people. Let's talk about mining licenses. If you go to Cadastre Department, ask them how many young people have applied for mining licenses. Why don't young people, when they get mining licenses, use them? It's because they don't have the capital. They don't have the equipment. So under the Democratic Progressive Party, we want to do the following things. Number one, imisepera, you put them into cooperatives. But when you put them into cooperatives, sit down with them. You have experts in mining, experts in business. Teach them what needs to be done. Then, once a mining license is given, that's a mining license that umusepera wasendelia mining license, aya ku bank mukusenda loan. Because what KCM and Mopana are doing, they are using the mining licenses that have been given to them by the government as collateral. So we will partner up with banks to make sure that the banks give the loans to the young people once we give them the licenses. But what we will not do also is to give the young people the money for the mining. Instead, we shall tabulate what is needed for them to operate. So if there's a gold tester, we say there's a gold tester, there's this technology they need, this equipment they need. So we'll buy the technology, we'll buy the equipment, bring it to the young people, set up the business centers and let the young people mine. But we'll not give money because experience has told us that every time government dishes out money to cadres, it doesn't come back. It just doesn't work. The Minister of Local Government has said the people that got the money for CDF have not paid back. The Minister of Youth, Sport and Development has said 93% of the people that got the money didn't pay back. Yes, they didn't pay back because you gave money to the cadres. And they take it that this is free money from the government. So what we'll do for the young people on artisanal, and we don't want to call Zambians illegal miners. You don't do that. If a Chinese, abwera mchinese ambukumba, wakapukola siwazaenda paja kuliza hapo mfuti kumpisha mchinese kulibe. But imwe mwende mukumbe, wakapukola babwera wambaloiza mfuti. That we shall not allow. We'll sit down with the young people, those that have got companies, give them the licenses, use the licenses as collateral, work with the government and the banks together and provide them with the equipment that they need for them to run their own.
But you agree that these must be formalized, because the youths that were in Mufumbwe, none of them had licenses, and
you know what has happened in Mufumbwe?
And government said we need to formalize this, you know.
Formalize, and again, this is where the challenge is. Again, our friends believe that formalizing is just to give a speech. Formalizing simply means give them the ability to work. That's what formalizing under DPP means. It means give them the licenses, but also give them the capital, give them the equipment, give them the technology.
Because the laws are very clear on mining.
But the rules must also work for the Chinese. Why are Zambians illegal and Chinese are not illegal? Why are foreigners not called illegal miners, but only Zambians are called illegal miners? I've sat down with the young people that are involved in gold mining, and they've told me it's a simple thing to do. Mining gold is simple, it's cheaper, it's easier than mining gold. All that government needs to do is to provide them with the licenses, equipment, technology, and also provide them with the market.
Essence, in principle, you not allow people to mine without licenses, isn't it?
No, of course there should be order. Where there's no order, there's chaos.
So if
the opposite of order is chaos.
For those that go mine without licenses, what are they going to call it?
No, the bottom line is that this government has not made a deliberate policy to empower the young people who are into mining. And we will do things differently. We'll give them licenses, give them capital, and give them the market.
One of the key things that came out of your speech was the fact that you create thousands of jobs within the first 5 years that you're elected into office. Give Zambians your blueprint in terms of how you achieve this.
So our target is to create 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. And we will create 1 million jobs in the following sectors. First of all, industrialization in all the sectors. So mining, there will be no exportation of raw copper, raw gold, raw diamond, nothing like that. So we'll start first with the ownership. Majority shall be Zambia and Zambians. Then the product shall be processed. That way we create jobs by creating factories and industries for the young people. And then we will also make sure that we use the modern technologies, import the technology, and create an environment where young people can thrive in the mining sector through mining processing. We are targeting to produce about 100,000 jobs from the mining processing industry alone. Agriculture. Now, agriculture accounts for 80% of all the jobs in Zambia. They account for agriculture. But the contribution of agriculture to the GDP is less than 5%. In fact, it's 3.8%, and that shows you the mismatch. Why? It's because our agriculture in the current state is not profitable. Let me start with the facts that the president talked about in Parliament. He said his government, through the SAFF or SAF Mwachidule, has provided agro tools for mechanization to 9,200 farmers. 9,200 farmers in the last 4 years have been given tools for agriculture. You know what that accounts for? We have 1.5 million farmers, 1.5 million small-scale farmers. So if it takes UPND 4 years to give tools to 9,000 farmers, it will take them 637 years, 2 months and 23 days to provide tools to 1.5 million farmers. What we do in agriculture is the following. First of all, Mwansa, twalikwata abaana abasambirira baliya ku college ku universities bali kwisha school. We want to employ thousands of agro extension officers. So we will break down this country, because now this is 2025, we need smart agriculture. So we will go and break down the country. In the Eastern Province, what crops are favorable? Ni ng'ombe, ni mbuzi ametinga sunge, olo ni nkumba. Okay, ngati ni cotton ametinga lime, kapena ni milisi, kapena ni nshaba. Okay, Eastern Province is fertile for groundnuts and cotton. So what we will do is to set up agro hubs for the young people, the youths in Eastern Province. They'll go into the growing of the cash crop, cotton, beans, soya beans, groundnuts, sunflower. These grow very well in Eastern Province. So we'll set up these agro yards for the young people. We'll provide them with the technology, provide them with equipment, provide them with the resources they need to produce en masse. But we shall not just stop there. We shall also invest in agro-processing. Stinga zitenga vonse from South Africa. Snack, mwatenga vimbatatisi vya potato, mwavisfryinga, mwapanga tuma snack, mwafaka tunaona nyamula bana tuma amigo, peleka school. You want them to come from South Africa? No. So we shall invest in agro-processing. We expect from the agro-processing value chain alone to produce another 150,000 jobs from the agro value chain alone. So we can produce our own milk, our bacon, our cheese, our processed foods, beef. From the agro-processing alone, we are targeting 150,000 jobs in 12 months. Now, so we have done mining, we have done agriculture, let's go to banking. Now, we have 17 banks in this country. Out of 17, only 2 banks is where Zambia have got shares. That is Zanaco and Indo-Zambia Bank. Forget about Zambia, Zambia Industrial and Commercial Bank. It's defunct, it doesn't work. The banking sector sits on 126 billion kwacha worth of investment portfolio. Now, every time you go to the bank to do a deposit, that money, the service charges they charge you, all that money is going out of this country to foreign countries. South Africa, India, that's where the money goes. What do we remain with? Nothing. Let's also join to this banking sector. We join the Airtel, Zamtel, and MTN mobile money. The president in parliament said mobile money has now reached 400+ billion kwacha in transactions, worth of transactions in 12 months. Every time you send money or receive money through Airtel money or MTN, Zandrama zienda what? South Africa and India. Because MTN is from South Africa and the Airtel is from India. Zamtel, which is our own company, we have failed to invest in Zamtel. We have made it moribund. It has got a very small share on the market. We will change that. We want to invest in Zamtel. They can have new technologies, and then we will move from the current 57% of internet penetration to 90% of internet penetration by the year 2030. So this connects the banking sector with the digital sector. So from banking sector alone, we want to set up banks, indigenous banks for Zambians, owned by Zambians. These are the banks that should give loans, credit financing to small and medium scale enterprises. And we'll make sure that all these unnecessary taxes that people are supposed to pay when they're starting their businesses are removed. So the small businesses for young people, we shall give them a 3-year window when they will not pay those taxes that are not needed. These taxes that we keep on giving them, we give them a window of 3 years for them to establish themselves. Then we'll make sure that we invest to have our own Zambian indigenous banks that can give loans to us. Inenchoka mkomboni, nikaenda lero ku bank, swanga nipase loan, bazambo nifunsa collateral, nilipe collateral. So to avoid those things, we will have our own banks, but we will also provide tax breaks to banks that allow for ownership of the local people in their format, in their companies. So we'll give them tax credits. Yeah. But there's one point I don't want to lose out, because I come from the compound. Now, kunyumba visafu vantinavu tishu safu vidomestos vonse vimada manachita organize na wanzake wanapanga chirimba. So ise as government we want to formalize the microfin. So we have seen that bazimai bakashana na bazimai, this issue of chirimba, they have taken it very serious, and we want to take advantage of that. So we shall use our banking and financial experts to sit down with these various women so we can formalize the chirimba. We want to inject 1 billion kwacha in the microfin known as chirimba, operationalize it, professionalize it, and make sure that we can raise their capital, because it works. We have seen it, it works. So remember I was talking about internet penetration. We can create 150,000 jobs from the digital platform alone. Bafana bali pa TikTok, bali pa Facebook, pa YouTube, different apps, they are not monetized. We need to find a way to monetize all these spaces. But also we need to ensure that in our education there are two very important subjects that must be taught. Number one is financial literacy. People have to know how to save, how to invest, how to grow their wealth. Second thing that is supposed to be taught in all the schools is digital literacy, because we are in the digital era. So we are going to provide the digital hubs where young people can come up with innovations, and government's role is to provide financing, is to provide the infrastructure that is needed, is to provide both software and hardware, so that the young people with the innovation can use that to create thousands of jobs for their fellows just in the digital space alone.
Depending on the type, depending on the part of the country that that we're going to televise this program on, some people miss this program because of their schedule, the load shedding. Just last week, people were having power for only 4 hours, and so they've been blacked out for 20 hours. At least now ZESCO has stabilized things a little bit. We now have power for 6 hours. It means that we've been load shedded, for 18 hours. Now, this is one of the issues that you spoke about. You mentioned in your speech that you will end load shedding by investing in power generation and distribution. But also, the issue that I have with this particular proposal is that you listened to the president's speech. One of the issues he mentioned is that this is what currently government is doing in order to end load shedding.
Load shedding is because everyone has to listen and understand this thing. Mwansa, the country is in a crisis. There is no economy in the world that can thrive on 4 hours, 3 hours of power. For an economy to grow, for people to work, you need to have power 24/7. That's a starting point. Now, the president at one point declared load shedding over. Okay? And now we are being told another story. Remember, the Minister of Information told us load shedding will end in June. The Minister of Energy told us load shedding might end next year, but we know next year there are elections, so there will be a lot of things that they have to change and pretend that they're working. The president in his speech really didn't give any concrete answer to when load shedding is going to end. But let's just quickly wind back. In May, this government, through ERB, announced new emergency tariffs. They increased the tariffs that people are paying for electricity. And the answer they gave is that we are going to increase the tariffs because we need more money to buy electricity, to provide electricity for the Zambian people. And we'll be giving you 9 hours of power per day. They increased the tariffs. Instead of giving us 9 hours of power per day, manje, they are even giving us 3 hours of power per day. So it's completely a mismatch of what they say to what they're doing. Now, I want the Zambian people to follow this very clearly. Zambia at peak hour needs 2,400 megawatts of electricity. At peak hour, Mayamba 6 hours, Kubofira kufika 24 hours. ZESCO must produce 2,400 megawatts of power. It means the whole country will have power. Currently, ZESCO is producing 1,806 megawatts of power. That means that ZESCO is producing 75% of the energy that we need as a country. This translates into 18 hours of power. ZESCO is producing up to 18 hours of power. In short, ZESCO, under the current production of 1,800 megawatts, can provide 18 hours of power per day. They are providing us with 3 hours of power per day. The question is, where is the 15 hours of power going? So ZESCO has gone into contracts with middlemen who are selling power on behalf of the ZESCO. We as Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, we are saying to the president, can you cancel the ZESCO deals that ZESCO has signed to give 75% of our energy to foreigners? Ku Namibia pano tikamba so beve ma industries yawo yasebenza. Ku Botswana tikamba ma industries yawo yasebenza. Ba using amalight ya ZESCO. But muno ise ma businesses yathu yonse yafa. So it doesn't make sense that ZESCO produces 18 hours of power, but only provides 3 hours of power to our people, and the rest of the power is being exported. That has to end. So what government needs to do with immediate effect is to give 3 hours of power to foreign companies that they have signed contracts with and give 15 hours of power to our people so we can grow our own economy. Because as it is right now, the economy has collapsed. There's nothing that is happening. Mama butcher, mama saloon, mama welding, mama school, everyone is stuck. Number 2, government must cancel the contracts they have given to middlemen at ZESCO. But once it doesn't make sense that a country that is struggling with resources, Zambia, you are struggling with resources, then you give a business deal to a private company as middlemen. They are making money, they're taking that money in private hands, and ZESCO needs that money for investment. That has to stop. We were told there will be no middlemen, but now they have introduced middlemen. That has to be stopped.
Which middlemen is that?
I want them on TV to go and ask ZESCO to say, Antonio Mwanza says there are middlemen who are selling power on behalf of ZESCO. Put them on the spotlight. Just go there and ask them, Antonio Mwanza is accusing you that you have got middlemen that are selling power on behalf of ZESCO. Is it right or not?
If you know the one can just mention.
There's one thing that we need to do, and this is one of the things that government has not done, the freedom of information. It has not been operationalized. Zambians should know who has gotten a contract at ZESCO. Under our leadership, all the contracts given by government departments and government agencies and government quasi-departments shall be published for people to scrutinize those.
The reason why I ask who these middlemen are is because also you made an allegation around how you fix the energy sector to reduce the price of fuel. You said the middlemen, and when you come in, you're going to remove the middlemen in the petroleum subsector to ensure that you make this cheaper.
I want to also to talk about one other thing as I'm talking about that thing. You know, so this country, we have leadership that thrives on Kuliamo. Okay? If you look at the energy sector, right now we have a crisis. There's a shortage of fuel, and ERB has confirmed that there's a shortage of fuel. What we need to do as a country, what we propose, is that first of all, we need to invest in storage facilities. The storage facilities will do 2 things to us. First of all, they will help us as a country not to run out of fuel. But number 2, they will help to stabilize the cost of fuel. Because whether the dollar or the kwacha tumbles, it will not have an effect immediately because you have enough fuel stock to last you for 90 days. That's why for us as DPP, our proposal to government is that the monthly reviews of fuel must be stopped. You can't be reviewing fuel prices every 30 days. It makes it difficult for businesses and individuals to plan. So invest in fuel storage and also have long-term bulk purchasing agreements. So you buy in advance. You pay when your kwacha is doing well. You go to the people that are providing fuel, you are buying fuel from, and you say you want to purchase fuel for the next 6 months, and you pay at a proper rate. You know how much money we need to make Indeni a modern plant and reduce the cost of fuel? $500 million. That's all we need.
It's now an OMC.
It has been reduced to a Kantemba, which is trading fuel. That is not what Indeni was meant for. Indeni was supposed to be an industry plant that separates oil when it comes, crude oil separates it and provides to the country. It has been reduced to a Kantemba trading in oil. All we need is $500 million. And how do we get $500 million? Just bring back the 10% export duties you've cancelled from Emerald, and within the 3 months you're going to have $350 million, and you'll fix Mopani, Indeni. But they're not doing that, okay? Because now we have the same problem with the fertilizer.
In fact, they said that they found Indeni dead, and that's the reason for why they've turned it into an oil marketing company. I was with the Indeni chairman just the other week on Coast, and they mentioned that the state of Indeni at the time that they were coming in, it was dead.
You see, Mwansa, the problem yabanzatu bakanyaula baenda bachitaso tanyaula tunampezane mwezi omvera chinyerekeza palipenzo kunyaulani se tunamnyaulani. No, we need as a country to stop thinking small. How do we reduce the cost of fuel? Manapeza fuel per 17 kwacha. Fuel today is up to 29 kwacha per liter. How do you reduce the cost of fuel? Is to work on Indeni. You need $500 million. All you need to do, cancel the tax export rebates that you've given these guys, Mama Emirates. In 3 months, the government will raise $350 million. That $350 million, you pump it in Indeni, use modern technology, Indeni will be able to provide fuel at a cheaper rate for all of us.
The explanation that government gives as the reason for why fuel was cheaper was because we were subsidizing it as a government.
Yes, and DPP will subsidize fuel because we'll subsidize fuel, we'll subsidize electricity. There's all these things that people say, no, you can't subsidize fuel, you can't subsidize electricity, is not attainable. EU, the European Union, has spent 162 billion pounds subsidizing fuel. America has spent 96 billion subsidizing fuel. We are losing $4.8 billion from the mining sector alone. We close those loopholes. We cancel the tax breaks we've given them. We'll be having $4 billion. That $4 billion is part of the money that you can use to subsidize electricity and fuel. When electricity and fuel is cheaper, your economy will grow. For as long as your fuel and electricity is expensive, you cannot grow the economy. You'll be going around in circles, and there's nowhere where you're going to go.
That's the reason for why past governments, even this government, throws at as justification for why there hasn't been so much investments, in the energy sector and subsector of electricity, is the fact that the tariffs are not conducive, for investors to come, and it's not profitable because the tariffs are really low. And so with the subsidy that you're bringing in, and you're just killing this subsector.
So this is what happens. If you go to any developed country, they subsidize the strategic sectors of their economy, okay? They make sure that what makes the economy is strategized, is subsidized. Now, let me be very quick. Remember they told us that let's increase the tariffs to encourage investment. We have increased the tariffs in electricity. What has happened? We have now 3 hours of power and 21 hours without power. So the story of tariffs being low is a story from the IMF. They have done a cost of service research, IMF, and they have done a report. And they continue to tell us, punish your own people. Make fuel and electricity expensive. Do not subsidize it. But you know what that is doing? It is killing our economy. So we don't believe that we can grow the economy by making fuel expensive or grow the economy by making electricity expensive. No. The economy can only grow when fuel and electricity are cheaper. Once fuel mtengo waenda pansi, vonse vintu vita bwanji vichipa. Fuel ikaenda pamwamba mtengo, vonse vintu vita bwanji vidula. So economics doesn't, common sense actually, you don't even need to go to the university to understand this. Common sense doesn't allow to grow an economy when fuel and electricity, which are the engine of the economy, are expensive. You can't grow an economy like that. Go to nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. This is very important. Nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. I had a meeting with some of the senior leaders at the plant, and I had a meeting with some board members at the plant. They need $26 million to make nitrogen chemicals of Zambia function at its peak. If nitrogen chemicals of Zambia is function at its peak, it will be able to provide 75% of the fertilizer we need as a country, both urea and D. But you know what they have done? They get $450 million US worth of contracts ya fertilizer kupasa wamwenye na Chinese. And they don't want to revamp, resuscitate, finance, capitalize nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. Why? Because what they are moklia jama contracts yamina pasa wamwenye na Indians. So ma contracts ya fertilizer, D, urea, all these things are being given to Chinese and Indians. And we as a country, we are bleeding up to $450 million every 12 months. This is a waste of human resource. This is a waste of our financial resource. Imagine if we just invested in nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. This country will be able to provide up to 180,000 metric tons of fertilizer every 12 months. You make your fertilizer cheaper. The money that you are spending giving Chinese and Indian companies for fertilizer deals under FISIP is the money that now that you can use to pump into agro-processing and create jobs for young people. So as long as we don't change the way we are doing things, I can tell you, Mwansa, this country can be here for the next 100 years the poverty levels will continue going up, the cost of living will continue going up, and nothing will change. Look at where we are today. A family of 5 in Lusaka, you need not less than 11,800 kwacha for you to survive. Now, how many people in this country wafula ma 11 pin? Look at the pay as you earn. It is at 5,100 kwacha. Meaning, the majority of the people have to pay 35% pay as you earn from that same 5,100 kwacha. For us, we propose we shall move the pay as you earn threshold from 5,100 kwacha to 10,000 kwacha. Anyone who gets 10,000 kwacha and below should not pay as you earn because they are working, they are contributing. Today's life is so hard. Nikaenda mufonu mutonse tuma application tunasira. Maironezi na kaflex impia unatenga kankongole. Kujumo unatenga kankongole. Kukastrata unatenga kankongole. Everywhere you go, people have been reduced to beggars. Ero muntu akakutumira phone kukupemba sindrama ekulu akupemba 50 kwacha. 50 kwacha manager ukamuuza okerekani tuma please napapata Mwanza usatumira muli namba lekani kupase namba ya madam. Iyi muli kankongole kafikiriza. That's what we've been reduced to. Vikwati manyumba vasila. If you go to court, 31,000 divorces in 12 months. Now, niba jamene munaenda vikwati vanu va munavereka na maringi munaenda na kuliba busa. What about us tunatengana makombo usiku? The pressure that is on the people is too much. And if you look at this issue of electricity, there's an economic issue on it, but also there's a social issue on it. Because if you are young, you are vibrant, or you are seated at home, there's no power, there's no nothing, what do you do with your time? You get frustration, you get stress. These issues are real, and we are losing people to mental health. We are losing people to suicides. The crime rates are high. Why? The economy has collapsed. There is no money in circulation. There is totally no money. There is no economy to talk about. There is no money economy to talk about. You go to North Mid. This Diamond TV is very near North Mid. You go to the shops. Na wakashana wamenewa gulisa vovala pa North Mid. Siwa gulisa virivonse. They charge them upemita marenti. Others are paying as much as $600 of rent per month. But banayanzika vovala, no one comes to buy. Vazimai wamaenda na vintu baruwango pamutu the whole day, no gulisapo virivonse. Because people have no money. So for as long as we continue with this politics we do, of thinking very small that, oh, you can give CDF and we can have mwenye na Chinese abwera, and you as a president, you can go and start saying, we have brought investment here, there's a company, they are building a cement plant. We will not end poverty. We will not create jobs for our people if we continue with these politics we've been playing for the last 20 years. These politics can't create jobs.
I have two more issues before we conclude, and very quickly we need to conclude. The elections are coming up in the next 11 months. Parliament is going to be dissolved in the next 7 months. Obviously, there's pressure now from the people stating that you, the opposition, must organize and give us someone that we're going to rally behind with. Are you ready as a DPP? I know that you just recently launched, but are you ready to join forces with others to unseat the Upnd?
Our motto, our slogan for DPP is Cha Wonse, meaning everybody from every political party, including those in Upnd who don't agree with 21 hours every day of load shedding, must use DPP as their platform. We are ready to work with every Zambian who do not agree with the current state of our economy, with the current state of our politics. Our politics, Mwansa, is so polarized on a regional basis, on ethnicity. Today we have reached a level, Mwansa, whereby I will shoot you. And when I say shoot, I mean by Facebook. Not because what you have said I don't agree with it, but because I don't belong to your party. And then we have also a culture where people praise things, even those things that they know deep down in their hearts that they are wrong. We have, and I want to make this very passionate appeal, we have qualified engineers who have been chased from ZESCO. Others are at home and they are being paid. And government is creating a problem because you've got one person at home whom you are paying, and you have got another person in an acting position whom again you are paying for the same job. And this is across ministries. The only crime many of these people committed was where they come from, or who they decided to support, or perceived that they supported this one and they supported that one. We want to appeal to government, bring back the engineers, bring back the human capital, experienced, educated people. And you are paying 2 salaries for one job. That should not be the case. Let's unite this country. We are too few. We are only 20 million. There is no tribe which is bigger than the other. There's no tribe which is more important than the other. It's only 20 million Zambians. We can work together.
The DPP is not ready to work with others, but is inviting others to work with the DPP.
No, we are ready to work with others. Okay, but I want to make it very clear. We are ready to work with others.
Are you ready to work with Tonse Alliance?
Tonse Alliance. Tonse Alliance. Iyamene nakachinda na shoni bayambana? Oh, okay. Yeah, so we are ready to work with everybody who does not agree with what is going on. We are ready to work with anybody who does not agree with what is going on. But also I want to throw a challenge to us as opposition political leaders that we should provide the alternatives like we have said in the minutes that we've been on this set. It is not enough to change government because politicians taachula. Kula wakwa kana ifpuna, bataba chula ni bantu. So we have a duty as opposition political parties to provide credible checks and balances, but also to provide alternatives. It's not enough just to say, remove. Okay, after we remove, what are we providing to the Zambian people? That's why we are very clear. Our policy is number one, the economy, the economy, the economy. Zambians must own and control the economy.
What about the Upnd Alliance? If invited, would you work with the Upnd Alliance?
No, and I want to make it very clear here. We will not work with Upnd. And please cut this, because in 2026, it's only months from now, and they might want to come here and to work with us. I want to say on behalf of the party, DPP, we will not work with Upnd. Because Upnd has been given 4 years. The 4 years of Upnd means more poverty. They found poverty levels at 54%, poverty levels at 64%. They found fuel at 17%, fuel is at 29%. They found the dollar at 17 kwacha per dollar. Now the dollar is 24 kwacha per dollar. They found the food basket at 7,800. It is now at 11,824. The Upnd have taken away the unity that we had as a country. The Upnd has destroyed the opportunity we had as a country to create jobs for the young people. The Upnd's policies are about to give more and more to foreigners and less to Zambians. The Upnd, as we are speaking right now, they are signing a new concession with the IMF. We don't believe in IMF. We don't believe in IMF. We have had 18 IMF deals. None of them have worked. IMF brought us this poverty we have partly by privatizing our companies, by retrenching our people, by introduction of structural adjustment programs, by introduction of austerity measures and removing of subsidies on fuel and electricity. Upnd believes in IMF. Upnd believes that the only way to fight inflation is to increase the monetary lending rate or monetary policy rate and increase the central reserve ratio. But those things, they suck liquidity away from the people. Upnd, no, let me finish. Upnd believes in giving tax breaks to foreigners and not giving tax breaks to our own people. Upnd does not believe in Zambians, they believe in foreigners. We cannot work with Upnd. No.
History shows us that there's no one single political party in our country that has only served for one term. Do you foresee a change of government or a wind of change ahead of the elections next year? Do you see Upnd being a one-term government?
If Upnd didn't believe that they are going, they wouldn't have been as aggressive as they are. I'm telling you, this program, as it is being aired right now, Upnd bankala so pants, bakamcheka and everyone, wind the line by line looking for something that I've said that they can use against me for seditious charges, for hate speech, for crime cyber law. Every day they're looking at that. And I've got intel that they are looking for a case they can plant on me. They have gone through all government records. I've never gotten money from government. I've never done business with government. I've never had a contract with government. I've never had anything to do with government. But as I'm speaking right now, I've got intel. They are looking for something that they can lump on me. If they thought that they are strong enough, they wouldn't have been doing that. Using seditious charges to stop people from talking. Using the cybersecurity law, which they condemned, And now they have strengthened it to stop people from talking. Kumalawi, DPP Malawi, you have seen the miracles they are performing. The people of Zambia thought UPND would make life easier. They thought UPND would make things cheaper. They thought UPND would provide jobs. They have not done that. So Zambians have the right to make their decision, and I'm sure that as we stand right now today, UPND is one of the most unpopular political parties in the southern region. In Zambia, anywhere where you can go, Mwansa, pano pene pano. And I want to borrow the words of one of the UPND Alliance member, that if there were elections to be held at UPND Secretariat, UPND will lose a Secretariat power. Because Diamond TV is not very far from UPND Secretariat. Tinga endepo pa Secretariat power. And you look at the level of poverty and hunger and desperation in the UPND Secretariat. That shows you the level of poverty our people are going through. UPND is a nightmare to the people of Zambia. People are not interested in the politics that does not help them. They're interested in the politics that helps them. That's why we as DPP, we are giving them solutions. These things we've been discussing here are some of the solutions that government must take keen interest into and implement. They don't have to wait for us to form government. They can just implement these things we are telling them, and Zambia will be a better place for all of us.
Democratic Progressive Party President, Mr. Antonio Mwanza, thank you so much for making time to speak to the millions of Zambians tonight.